Welcome to Behind the Citgo, where we pull back the curtain on the unseen truth of addiction recovery and talk about things most people never get a chance to see. I'm your host, Josh Torbich. Each week, we're sitting down with people who lived it, led it, and are still learning from it today. This isn't polished, it's real, it's raw, and it's noted in the faith and hope because we do recover. So whether you're in recovery, walking alongside someone who is, or just trying to understand what healing really looks like, you came to the right place. Let's dig in. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. Another episode Behind the Citgo. Especially grateful you're tuning in with us. I'm watching all of you guys engage with our videos, our posts. Just got to say, I'm really excited to see. I can't believe it's only been a few months of our posting and getting this podcast off the ground. I'm really grateful to see how many of you guys are hitting me up. I was just running over at the park the other day doing a new workout group that I was doing. It's called Temple Builders. And you know what they said? Hey, Behind the Citgo. And I said, oh, somebody been watching the podcast from the park. Today I got my very dear friend, Jwantana, with us today. And we are going through a very special story. I've been excited about this story today, talking about my sister's keeper. And Jwantana has a very special story to tell. And she told me right before we got started, this is her first time telling it. So I do want to say this before we get started. Thank you. Thank you for popping on here and being our first ones to share this story.
You're welcome.
Well, tell me this before we get started. Why is now the right time to share the story of how you journeyed through this version of trying to be your sister's keeper while she battled with addiction? Why is now the right time to share that?
Because I still see it continuing happening. You know, it's time to be a voice for the communities.
Yeah,
it's time.
Using that story, it's a great ambition to say, we talked a little bit about this before we got started, to say, hey, someone's going to hear this today and it's going to positively impact their situation. And that's a beautiful heart to have when you step into it.
Yes, it is. I'm a firm believer that there are testimonies that people are withholding that will free other people.
I agree with that too.
Yes.
And embracing that today, you know, one of the first things that we want to set the frame for is you started to get inklings of your sister's struggles at some point throughout your relationship with her and your upbringing. So talk to me about when you first noticed that something with your sister wasn't going in the direction that you would hope as a loving sister would.
I would say 15 years ago. Both of my sisters, I'm the oldest of three, and a cousin, we attended a party. You know, I was the driver. I had my rules, my boundaries, and we packed up and we went to this party. And on the way back, my niece tells me now that, which is my sister's daughter, that her mother was having a crash out. And that was the first time that my sister and I had witnessed what we would call a crash out. We got home. My sister went to her home, and I went with my sister to my parents' house. And there was an altercation with she and my mother. And I got in the mix of it. And my father is a quiet man. And to see him get up and touch me and to say, Jwantana, stop. Right then in that moment, with my mother, my father, my sister, and myself, I knew that my sister was struggling with something larger than she, you know? And that's the real moment that it affected me. Because after that moment, I really became the big sister. I told her that I did not appreciate it and what's going on, you know. I tried distancing myself and as if I was putting her in timeout, you know, trying to let her know that was not good. And I remember her texting me one morning saying, I miss my sister. So she knew how to reel me back in without giving me the real reason of what was going on with her.
Mm. Yeah, so
Yes.
when you're watching that dynamic, did she struggle with addiction when she was younger? Or did you never pick up on that?
Um, I would say yes. Um, at parties, her drinking, you know. I did a lot of drinking myself, I'm not perfect. She was on scenes that I thought that she should not be on the scene before I did. We were 8 years apart. Lawahna did have older friends. So that meant that sometimes when I arrived on the scene somewhere, um, she was there already. So, yes, in the back of my mind, I thought that she was living too early.
When you found out that she was having struggles, and it's a pretty subtle moment, what you're describing, where your dad comes over and he says, "Hey," and it gave you that clue. There's something more happen. There's some. This isn't just this instance. There's something much bigger in the room. You know what a lot of folks talk. They call that is the pink elephant. And a
Yes.
lot of families today are plagued by the pink elephant whenever it comes to addiction. I was just working with a family a few weeks ago, and they didn't know how to have the conversation. They had called me desperately, and they had said, "Josh, um, we we know that he's struggling right now. We know that he's bringing it into our home. Their oldest son, was addicted to heroin. They said we're at the place now where we're willing to address it, simply because we're worried about his younger siblings being
Mm,
exposed to it."
mm.
But they were describing, I don't know how to bring it up. I don't even know how. We know there's problems, we know there's issues. The pink elephant is there, but nobody will look at or talk about the pink elephant. Was there a little bit of that inside of the household at all happening?
Well, Luana, my mother gave her a family home, um, and she loved family. And yes, speaking with her eldest daughter, Rhodesia, which this weekend is a special weekend. Not only Mother's Day, Rhodesia will be graduating with her Master's of Social Work.
Wow,
Yes.
good for her.
Um,
That's
my
incredible.
yes, my sister, Luana, before her death, she accompanied my niece to Florida. That's where she was studying before my sister's death. Um, yes, Rhodesia shared with me that uh, her mother was very accountable in the home. She told her that um, she was the parent and for her not to worry about her.
Hmm.
She did. So, yes, a lot of that went on in the home. Family, with all of us together, all three of us, and my mother and my father. Um, it was kind of that pink elephant, but she and I knew about the elephant,
Yeah.
you know, um, and it was just, I would say now, I'm going to come out and say it. It was a secret that I thought that I could conquer
Okay.
alone. In the back of my mind, it was alcohol, um, some marijuana. I'm thinking that I could help her.
Understood.
That it was under control, because she had a way with me of letting me know that I got this. And it should have been more communication. And I tried to um, insert the information that I knew. Um,
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. So, because when you say like, I knew, and then there's that thing that all of us, and this is what I know for myself. Let me tell you about me. I am already the worst one, and you would think you, Josh, I am. I am the worst one when it comes to actually being the person I'm supposed to be for family members or loved ones when they're struggling with addiction. I'm the worst. Like when that little elephant of codependency comes creeping at my door, like I'm the worst one. And I know this to be so because I oftentimes will give a message that's different to the folks who are traveling through the programs than I do to. I always want my loved ones to have it easier and softer than what's
Mm,
actually
mm,
necessary for the folks who are going to find true recovery
mm,
through that
mm.
process. And I found that to be actually, I've had my sponsors call me out about that. So when you were engaging with it, I'm very familiar with the idea of like, oh, she had this way of convincing me that it was all right and it was gonna be all right. But you always had those instincts that would rise back up. Like, oh, this ain't right. This ain't so. This shouldn't be. So, what were some of the things that you did in that relationship to try to be your sister's keeper and try to at least push her in the right direction?
It's very ironic that you say that. She gave me the title a few years before her death. Um, Family manager. You know,
I could see that one.
she gave me that title, and in the room as a family manager, I took everyone's temperature. I know my mama was clueless. My daddy, he's daddy, lean back, relaxing,
Yeah.
looking at gun smoke. You
Yeah.
know, and my baby sister, not really knowing. You know, I had to control the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I controlled the family uh, emotions. I knew when Lawahna was at a point to where um, I stopped her from being disrespectful to mom, and I let her know that, hey, hold up. I had a way to intervene into these conversations. It's almost like I followed her around the home when she came and when all of us was together in a room. And sometimes I would say, hey, where you coming from? You looking and feeling good? My way of trying to let the
Nudge.
family know
Yeah.
that there was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, and sometimes she talked about it, and sometimes she put me in my place. How are you, Jwantana? She was she was very smart with that, because she found a way to mama always looked at me. Lawahna helped with nudging mama that, hey, mama, she's coming around playing this perfect older sister. What about you, Jwantana? So I found myself just controlling the temperature of everything that was said in the home.
Yeah, and it's a lot of weight to carry as far as the responsibility goes to that. The family manager, and I understand the sentiment behind the title. It's your job to mitigate the environment in every setting. Make sure that things land at least at the end of the family engagement the way that they're supposed to land. Where they're supposed to land, where everybody can get back together next month and do it again. That's what it's supposed
That's
to
right.
look like.
And coming from her, it's ironic, family manager, and I think that's I feel it more than ever that she wanted me to manage this ride
Mm-hmm.
that she knew that we were on,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the best I could.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Is there a moment or a story that comes to mind whenever you really felt the weight of loving someone that you knew ultimately that you couldn't pull back on or even save? Like, do you ever recall a situation where you really felt the burden of it?
Oh my. I would say maybe a month before her death, the family had planned a family trip to Florida. And when I say a family trip, I'm meaning everyone, our immediate family, myself,
The whole team.
the whole team,
Wow.
um, my husband, my daughter, my only daughter, my grandchildren, my sister's Channing's husband and children, my father, even my father. This was big. This was big.
He was coming away from
This was
Gunsmoke.
big, plane and all. My daddy was gonna fly. My mother and Lawahna and her two children. And at the last minute, she backed out. And in that moment, she knew the importance. I talked to her about the importance of this trip. This would, I thought in my mind and my soul, and I felt that this was the last time that all of us could be together. And she backed out. And in that moment on the conversation, I knew that I am losing a loved one. She cannot find the strength, the mental capacity to pack a bag and leave her surroundings and be with family on this most important trip of our lifetime.
Yeah, those were the subtle signs are turning into something that started getting much louder, and that
Oh, it
oftentimes
was loud.
is the case. You know, folks, we see it all the time with our folks here that the deeper that they get into that addictive mindset, and even as their addiction takes over to consume more, it pulls them away from us. You know, it
Mhm.
really pulls them into themselves. And one of the things that you'll notice often, and this is a really interesting thing that you're saying, but important for the folks to know, that as they go deeper into addiction, they'll pull further away from all of the other things that would be considered keeping people like us centered in life. So the activities for the family, the social engagements, church activity, you know, all of those things will start to fall by the
Mhm.
wayside as it kind of starts to consume them. And that's, I mean, would you say that's like the megaphone for you? Like when you were like, wow, this has really gotten to a place, you're saying this isn't too far away from when she
Sh-
passed.
You're right, and the most I do find peace within that. Um, this was the first time that she defended me with family. She told the family that it's not my fault because I was on the phone calling her and asking her why. She even spoke with my husband. Um, she told me that she wanted peace, you know, and for her to take up for me like that, um, I knew that we were in the middle end of the worst storm my family has ever gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And on October 16th, early Sunday morning, it happened. So um, it's something that I will hold dear to my heart. Um, that she could not uh, find a way, and I almost, I was afraid, fearful of her blow up. Um, I almost said, hey, when we get there, you know, you'll be all right, or we'll make sure you be all right. And now I don't really know what that meant, but I was trying to give her some type of peace that family would be there for her,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, now that I look back, how could she? I don't think she thought that she could survive a week without drugs.
Yeah,
She couldn't manage it.
she got managed.
No, no. And by traveling with us, um, then she would have to, the family would have to know that uh, addiction um, has struck our family in a way, you know, that she knew that it would hurt us. So, you know, as I always say, all is well. And we're dealing with it. We're dealing with it.
Tell me about this because it's a not an uncommon sentiment for so many families, especially across our community,
Uh-huh.
to feel some sense of let's not talk about that. Let
Okay.
let's not engage with that. And we
Okay.
work with it all the time here. we see it all the time where it is something that starts to boil just underneath the surface. The problem with things that boil just underneath the surface is they're still boiling. Uh,
Yes.
and one of the struggles that I see a lot of families going through, and it sounds like, you weren't excluded from this in that struggle, is that if you do start to talk about what's going on and what you see, it becomes real.
Hmm.
And that is a tussle that we have. And the problem is the tussle happens inside of here.
That's right.
It's a spirit then
That's right.
that you're wrestling with.
That's right.
And then the reality of knowing that things most of the time go unsolved unless they're brought to the surface. And so, one of the things that we spend a lot of our energy and time doing is encouraging folks to say, like, hey, this is not some stain or blemish of
Mm-hmm.
who that person is.
Correct.
This is an identity that was
Mm-hmm.
lost through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing about identity is while they can sometimes get off track, they can also be restored.
Mm-hmm.
And I oftentimes tell the folks who are here traveling through our programs that if you reinvent your identity, then drugs and alcohol won't hold a candle to you anymore. I tell this thing and say this. They go, thirsty people always do one thing. You know what thirsty people always do? They always drink. I said, so a lot of people think that in order to get well, they have to stop drinking. I say no, because thirsty people will always drink. So, what do you have to really do? You have to start getting yourself as someone who doesn't become thirsty anymore to find a well
That's
fulfilled
right.
life.
That's
And,
right.
we have a very specific way we do that through the Christian Recovery Centers and through the body of Christ. How much courage does it take when you're inside of one of those moments with your family dynamic to come in and rip the band aid off? Just to say, hey, well, this is going on. We see it. We know the signs are there. While subtle, now they're getting louder and louder and louder. We're going to talk about this. That takes a lot of courage, doesn't it?
Oh my my my. Um, I recall um trying to get a meeting with a meeting, yes, a meeting um with my sister and with my sisters and my mother, father, and her oldest child. And we were this close. She called my niece and manipulated her to let her know that Rhodesia, don't come to this meeting. This Jwantana is going to turn this meeting around and focus on me.
Mm-hmm.
And she was right. And that meeting did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
It did not happen. And I still visualize um, the family. If we could have, just one thing I wish we could have done is to knock on her door, you know. And she always had this peephole that she would look out of and in the window. And I wish that when she looked out, that she could have see the entire family there wanting to help
Wow.
and not leaving until she come out to say that there's a problem.
There's a problem.
There's a
Wow.
problem.
See,
There's a problem.
wow. That's a very big picture that you just painted. You would say that that's extremely difficult, to encourage a family to say, hey, you know what? To not allow the person to hide behind the door
That's
anymore.
right.
Metaphorically and physically is what you're
Yes.
saying.
Yes.
And to get the whole, if there's one, you're saying right now to all of the folks who might be even having some, if they're relating to your story at all, you're saying get their family, go to the porch and make sure that they say what's going on.
Do it, because if you don't do it, um, the next family meeting, I don't mean to seem harsh and raw, but it's real. The next family meeting will be to the funeral home.
Um,
Um, do it. Do it.
so talk to me about after your sister passed and you guys are collectively getting together as a family for those next steps, you
Mm.
know, to make the arrangements for and tell me about the discussions that took place there. Were you carrying a lot of weight? Were you just replaying the tapes?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my. Um, the silence. Um, Silence is so strong. Um, the morning after, I uh I stayed there at the family home where we were raised. Everybody was there. Everybody was there. My daughter, the sisters, we were there. And I woke up to the silent house. I've never. It was unbelievable. I had two choices: to fall into what I felt, the heaviness in my home that morning. I'm at my parents' home, or I had to be the family manager. I had to be the family manager. I had to get up from the couch and walk down the hallway and knock on my old room where my sister's daughter was sleeping to inform her that um, it was time to get up. And we had some things to do. Um, the night before, the same night, um, she let me know that she wanted to be a part of the obituary. Um, so I had to get her up early, and the look on her face, and the things I had to say to get her up, to motivate her, to let her know that grief is gonna come, but we had to get up and plan her mother and my sister's funeral,
Wow.
and to pack
Yeah.
less than 72 hours after her service. We had to pack to fly to Florida for our trip.
Wow.
We made a decision to go.
Wow. Yeah, so when you're going through this entire process and you're kind of recapping all of these events that happened, we're able to talk about them pretty slowly right now, but man, I bet you're thinking about them. They're very much a blur. And as you were going there, can you dip into any of the thoughts that you had about, man, if I would have, or man, if I should have, or man, if I could
Oh
have?
my goodness. Just morning waking up,
Yeah.
knowing that I was coming here. Um Last night, I replay every conversation,
Yeah.
um, every argument, um, everything that I tried to do to make her feel included. The redos of things that I should have said, and things my sister and I, we do it daily, and I know my mother um, deals with it. It's a double whammy, Josh. I'm just gonna say this and put this out here, and my sister would not mind. I tell you, we were dealing with a double whammy during my sister's addiction, because my sister was dealing with her husband um, with an addiction.
Mm-mm.
So we were battling.
Yeah.
We were battling, and um, it's a lot of things that we battle with. Uh, Grief of guilt. No matter what you do, family, no matter what you do, you will deal with this grief daily. And I had to stop and learn how to address my emotions. Um, I was a person that did not do that. I do a lot of things within my community, and I never took the time out to deal with emotions. And my sister's death taught me how to deal with my feelings.
Yeah.
My physically, um, I learned how to stop and rest. Um, my sister's death put me on my back. It put my family on their backs, a place where we have never been before. And after Florida, after the trip, we didn't have time to mourn. After the trip, um, the kids didn't know anything, but we all went back as soon as we touched down. I'll never forget the plane touching down, and boom, I'm back home.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to deal with it. And it's something that you better family, mom, dad, uncles, sisters, brothers, children, deal with it, because if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you in a way that you're not gonna like, you know.
Yeah, watching folks who get stuck, you have these moments that you're describing today, but there's also a lot of really good things that you probably anchor yourself with about your
Oh,
sister and the
oh
time that you spent.
yes.
What are a few like of those
Oh,
qualities from your
oh
sister where she
wow.
used to light up the
Wow.
room?
Wow. Um, wow.
It sounds like she was fun.
Lawahna, she was a good mother. She was a good mother. Um, she had two children, Rhodesia, 26, and Lovely. Lovely graduated high school last year. And Lovely has a disability, cerebral palsy. And my sister was so overprotected of her. Um, and Lawahna loved her family. Lawahna helped my mother, our family, my sisters, take care of my grandfather. Um, she helped take care of my great aunt. Um, I'm talking bathing, I'm talking
Wow.
dressing them, taking them out for rides. She loved her family. Um, her nieces and her nephews. She loved them. We laugh about she was the best bath giver. She would give them baths and in the bubble bath, and she would grease them down. That was her signature. She loved her family.
Yeah.
And I know that if she could have reached um the stage of recovery, mm, 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 all the time.
How has your memories and interactions with your sister continue to influence the way that you might engage or understand the recovery community today?
Oh, it's so ironic. My baby sister is a certified triple P um, um, trainer. And before my sister's death, she told my sister that she needed to help Brunswick County. She said, Channing, there are a lot of women out here struggling
Mm-hmm.
with addiction. Um, she was talking to us, she was speaking to us, and she was supposed to be a part of that. And shortly after her death, we are now officially a nonprofit. It's called Blossoms
Wow.
Parenting and More.
Wow.
And Blossom is my sister's nickname. And we use her house to allow women that have gone through programs and using it as a short term living space to get themselves together, because affordability for housing is out the roof.
Oh yeah.
That's another podcast, right?
Yeah.
And um her home, she named it the cottage. Um, and that's where people try to heal.
Wow.
So
So
her
it's
legacy is living on.
yeah, I was gonna say this
It is
this entire experience, I don't think I realized it's made you personally involved in trying to
yes,
help reshape what this looks like for our community.
a voice. Um, it's making me have tough conversations, um, even with family members that are struggling, letting them know that you are struggling and it's real. And if you don't do something about it, it will not turn out good for you and your family.
Yeah. How do
So,
you
yes,
have those if you're an organization like us? And I guess if you think back to where we are trying to play that kind of role inside of the community to support families who need to navigate those really tough conversations, just if you were to think about what could have gotten our family there, what would have what could have someone said, coached, helped, supported in some way to get us there where we were more equipped to have that conversation? Does anything pop up in your mind that would have helped get you across the line to where you could be the group standing on the porch and not leave, have the courage not believe until she came out?
I don't care who you are, follow your instinct.
Okay,
It's real.
it's real.
We have instincts about everything else in life.
Mm-hmm.
Follow it. It's real. It's there. Um, don't push it to the side. Don't make excuses for it. Um, I can remember my sister going through addiction. You'll do things and make bad decisions. Um, her relationships with men, I would talk to her about it, um, and kind of try to navigate my way into a space where she felt comfortable. Um, I think that she uh, really didn't want to disappoint
Mm-hmm.
us, but not knowing that um, she could help others
Mm-hmm.
also. It's. I look back now, conversations with family members, and um, there's a lot of shame. Um, I can only imagine what she felt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, Having her family and her children to go through this. I can only imagine that there were times that she was so in dark places, having psychotic moments. Um, I remember missing a call from my sister. It was 3:30 in the morning. Huh, I know, right? Um, I don't sleep through phone calls anymore. Um, and when I would call her back, she would blow it off. Oh, it was nothing. I didn't realize how late it was. She was going through. And family members, we go through so much. And if I could say anything to you, it would be stop and take time to listen, to feel, to question what's going on around you
Yeah.
and your community in which we live.
Yeah. It takes a lot of courage to get to that place where you're ready to fully interact with it and act on your instincts. And watching folks who kind of wrestle with that as they go through the process is something that we're committed to doing. And one of the things that you're doing, I want you to know with opening up Blossom's Cottage, right?
Blossoms Parenting and More.
Blossom's Parenting and More. Oh, I thought Blossom's Cottage. Okay.
Blossoms.
Blossom's Parenting and More. One of the things that you're doing is bringing the message out front. And I think that the more people can see recovery taking place inside of our communities, the more courage they can have directly to engage with it whenever it's found themselves intruding in their family dynamic. I'll tell you what, one thing that I've learned about addiction, it doesn't discriminate. Doesn't care who you
It
are,
doesn't,
where you
Josh.
came from, what you did for work when you grow. It doesn't care. And it plagues so many families inside of our community. Yet what you're saying is so powerful. People think that it's isolated just to them.
It is a thief.
Yep, it's a thief.
It will it will knock on your door.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I never always my heart always went out to people that were addicted. Growing up around alcohol. Families. You see a lot of things. And if you see something, say something. You know, um, it's real.
It is real. Yeah.
It's
So
real.
with Blossoms Parenting and more, will you tell the folks real quick how they can contact you if they're interested in understanding more about that service?
We do have a Facebook page, Blossoms Parenting and More. And it took us a while to get, you get the paperwork, and then we get to a point where grief sets
Oh
in,
yeah.
and but we do have a Facebook page. Please contact us, Blossoms Parenting and More. We're right in the middle. My sister's home is right in the middle of the community where I was raised, a little place called Rutland Chapel. That's what we call that community. That's the name of my church, Rutland Chapel
Oh
Community
wow.
Church. So her home sits right in the middle of um, my community in which we were raised.
Well, thank you for taking the effort to be a part of that, and thank you for having this conversation with us today. I want you to know that we're committed just like you are. You know, the organization here and all the activities that we put ourselves out in front of, we're committed to helping families make sure that they can navigate these conversations whenever it comes time to do them. Because I believe in recovery. You know, I
Mhm.
believe that people get well. So today, I think your sister is really happy to see some hope that would be created through just being able to share these components of her story. So thank you for doing that.
And Josh, one more thing, to the folks out there, God is real. He's real. Um,
Amen.
your resources out there, but don't forget about falling to your knees
Falling to your
in
knees.
the midnight hour, late
Yep.
night hour. Fall to your knees and ask God for strength.
Mm-hmm.
Ask Him for guidance. Ask Him for anything you need.
Amen.
You know, you
Yep.
know.
He's there, and that's where the power comes from. That courage you find it. Hope floats. That courage
I'm
will
I'm
come
I'm,
from
I'm
that.
telling you, being here today, I'm talking with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, God is real,
He is real.
because that's the only way that I'm here today,
Amen.
talking to you and to um, the podcast today, behind the Citgo.
Beyond the
Yeah,
Citgo
behind the Citgo. It took God grace to get me here
to share his story.
to share with you. I should have mentioned this to you before. Um, um, before coming in, I would love to sing the Lord's Prayer
Yeah.
to anyone out there that to some that don't know the Lord's Prayer. You know, I would love to sing the
Please.
Lord's Prayer.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed will be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you for that gift.
All is well.
I got to tell you what I need now. We're
What?
never going to host another event without you coming to do the national anthem
no,
for us.
no,
Oh,
no.
Jwantana. I got
All
goosebumps
is
on
well.
me, girl.
All is well.
That's
All is
incredible. Yeah, and you know what? A perfect way to wrap up this conversation today. You know why? Because God was honored today. He really was, by you sharing that story and by us being able to talk about what it looks like. It's going to go out there to empower other families to do the same thing. And I appreciate you for that. Folks, you heard it today first, what it sounded like to be the sister's keeper, a loving sister trying to help navigate the wiles of addiction when it intrudes upon their family dynamic. We hope that you'll see you next week. We'll see you soon.